Hi Yellowbird Studio friends, this is Miss Florrie with part 2 of making a fun treehouse out of a cardboard box. Now in the first video I showed you how to put the tube in there so that you've got a treehouse that has 2 stories. Or maybe 3, depending if you count the ground as a story. But in this video I'm going to teach you how to make the fun little swing that goes with the treehouse, the little elevator that goes up to the top, and some little furniture for your treehouse friends, and the little boat. So I'm going to go through each one of those one at a time. Right now I'm going to move these away because I don't need them. I'm going to bring out the treehouse that I made in the first video and show you that it is now dry and ready to be worked on. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to do the little swing, which is right here. So this little swing. Now to make this little swing, you're going to have to make a little hole here at the top. I don't know if I'm not going to tip it because everything will fall off, but there's going to be a little hole right here at the top that the swing is going to be hanging down from. So that's the first thing that we're going to do. You can take some kind of semi-sharp object. It could be a pen with anything that pokes, and you have to look and see where you would like your swing to hang. And I think I'm going to have my swing hang, let's see, maybe right here, so that it hangs right here. No, actually I'll do it on the side. So I'm going to just take my pen and I'm going to try to stick a hole in. Stick it in to make a hole, then stab it from the bottom. You've got a hole that you're going to be passing your line through. So materials that you're going to be needing after you've made your hole, you're going to be gathering up your materials. You're going to need 2 paper towel rolls, or 1 large paper towel roll that's cut in half, or 2 other kinds of paper rolls. You are also going to be needing some hot glue. Please use supervision. Children under the age of 6, definitely. You need your mom or dad or big brother or sister to help you with that part. You could use tacky glue or tape, but to get some longevity out of it, we do recommend that you use a low temperature glue gun for this project. You're also going to be needing a hole punch and maybe just sort of like a thick piece of paper, maybe a piece of cardboard from something fairly easy to cut, but that's firm. And like I said, and some tape if you need it. And we use beads, but I'm going to show you an alternate method of putting this together without beads. I'll show you where I use the beads and where you can get away with not having to use beads. But these are just wooden craft beads that we got at one of the craft stores. You can use really any kind of bead. What the bead is going to do is it's going to stop the string from falling back through the hole, but we can do that with a knot. And also it gives you a little thing to hold on to, especially for the elevator. But we'll talk about that in a little bit of time. You're also going to need pieces of cardboard from the large box that you used to make the tree house. So if you got a big box like this, you're probably going to wind up with these flaps. These flaps are what I'm going to use. I'm going to cut them off and I'm going to use them to make the boat, and then any leftover scraps I'm going to use to make the furniture. So you're going to need parts of your box, or any old box is fine. So the first thing we're going to do is to do that swing, and it is a half of a roll, and I'm going to take a roll and cut it in half with my scissors so that I have 2. And one is going to be the swing and one is going to be the little elevator. So you're going to keep those. This second roll is actually going to be part of the elevator. So you're going to put that aside for now. So you're going to go ahead and get your scissors out. Put the elevator pieces aside. Now, if you take a look at this, all it is I took out, oops, my little man fell out, or my little elf. You're going to take a piece of the toilet paper right out of the middle, and that's where your little person or whatever it is going to sit. So this is super easy to make. So you're going to take your roll and you're going to leave a little bit here and a little bit here, and maybe with some help of an adult, you're just going to kind of get your scissors and just cut sort of like a groove out like that. So it's kind of like you're cutting out a flap. I'm going to cut a little more so that I can slide my scissors in like this. And now I've got that cut out like that, and I'm going to cut the back part out a little bit too. And it's up to you how wide you want to make it. If you mess up, then just get another paper towel roll. They're good to save up for all kinds of really interesting projects that you can make. So there I have a little bit of an opening, and that's where the person's body is going to sit. Okay, it kind of gives them a little base to sit in like that. Now we're going to take your hole puncher, and if you don't have a hole puncher, you can very, very, very carefully punch holes in to the sides. You just need something to be able to pass, an area to pass the twine or yarn through. You're going to punch a hole, and you're going to punch a hole. Now, a little trick that we use here at the studio, let's say you punch the hole, but it's too close to the side, and you say, oh no, I don't have another paper towel roll. What you can do is just take a piece of tape and cover the mistake up. You know, here at the studio, we see mistakes as learning opportunities. Time to get creative and think out of the box to fix your problem. So instead of throwing it away, you can just simply retape it and then punch your hole so that it's in the right place and you haven't wasted your little tube. So you've got your swing made. Now it's time to hang your swing. So I'm going to pull this. This is something called twine. They sell it in garden shops, craft areas, and the different stores may carry it as well. So I'm going to take a piece of this twine, and just like this one, I'm going to sort of measure how long I want my swing to be. So I'm going to just take my twine and I'm going to measure just a little bit longer, and I'm going to double it up, like put it in half. And then I'm going to cut it down low. And here's where the tricky part comes, where the steps that you need to take. You're going to take your twine and you're going to pass it through one side only, and you're going to tie a knot like that, like you're going to tie your shoe. You're going to pull it tight, and then you're going to do it again. Tie a knot like you're going to tie your shoe, so that you have a double knot and it's nice and strong. Okay? If you don't like this little extra, just take your string or your scissors and cut off that little piece of string. Like that. Now, once you have one side of your swing done, you are going to pass it through that hole that we poked earlier. So, what I did is I actually used a, this is how I threaded the bead, is I passed it up through like this, and then I took a bead. I'm going to show you two ways. Take a bead, and once you've passed it all the way up, you're going to put your bead on, and then you're going to poke it back through like this, so that your bead is sitting on top like that, and then you're going to tie the other side onto the other side. But I'm going to show you what to do if you don't have any beads. You can use anything though to stop your string from going through the hole. It doesn't even have to be the bead. You can use tape. It could be whatever you want. But what I'm going to show you how to do is I'm just going to pass it through like this. I'm going to imagine, let's see, I'm going to imagine a little bit of extra hanging up here, and then I'm going to pass it through the other side of the swing, and then I'm going to tie the knot on, just like we did before, 2 times. leave myself enough string to tie that knot. Okay, cut off the extra. And so you have this little tab sticking out the top. Now what you can do here is you can just simply tape it, this little loop. You can use some tape so that it's secure, or you can actually take your loop and you can do a knot that just kind of goes around in a loop, and then you pass it through. Just sort of do a loop knot like that. Slide it up so then your swing doesn't go all the way through. Tape is probably going to be your easiest thing if you're not good at tying knots. Now, I obviously didn't leave myself enough. It wasn't quite as long as this one. I should have left myself a little bit more. So when you are cutting your twine, it's better to leave a nice long piece of twine than leave yourself too short, because if you don't like it, you can always cut it off and start over again. But that's the basic way of how to do a cute little swing for your tree house. Now the elevator is a little bit different. I'm going to bring back the other one to show you what it looks like. So your paper tube is going to be painted first. I wanted to paint it the same color as the top of my tree. And it is going to be hot glued on the top of the house. And then I've got my little elevator. So I'm going to show you how to make the I'm going to go ahead and hot glue the tube onto the top. Now I haven't painted this one. You're going to take the second tube and you're going to poke 2 holes into the sides, either with a hole punch or some other kind of pokey thing. And then you're going to take your hot glue gun with supervision and you're going to glue it onto the top of the tree house with the 2 holes sticking up on the top. Okay, so while that's setting, drying, I'm going to put together my little elevator. Now the elevator is basically you're creating a cup. So it's just a little cup that your person goes into, and we'll show you how to do the sides so that the cup stays on the string. So here is your little, the second half of that one that we cut in half is right here. And what I asked you to get also was some kind of like a thin piece of cardboard. It doesn't have to be as thick as the box. It just makes it easier to cut. And what you're going to do is you're going to do a bead of hot glue in a circle like that. Stick it on. Right. Let it dry just for a few minutes. It's going to kind of look like that. While you're waiting for it to dry, be careful not to touch the hot glue while you're doing this part. You're going to poke a hole on either side of the little tube. So one on this side and one on the opposite side. Here. Again, if you're too close to the edge, use some tape, cover up the holes, and re-punch. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to do this part right here. There, this little part. So you're going to get some twine and you're going to sort of measure. Like I said before, don't make the mistake I did in cutting too little. Go ahead and cut more than you need. Okay. So what I did here was I simply tied on 2 little beads. I'm not going to do that this time. I'm just going to simply show you. That's more for decoration. You can do the same thing that we did before and just simply tie on 2 times, tie 2 times. So 1 and 2. And then on the other side, here's where you determine how long you want your swing, this part to be. So I think I want it to be about that long. So I kind of eyeball it, measure it, and then I'm going to pass it through and measure it again and say, oh, about this long looks good. And then I'm going to tie a knot 2 times on the other side. 1 knot and 2 knots. So we've got this extra twine hanging here. I'm going to cut that off so that it looks a little neater. And by now your glue may be dry, so you're just going to cut along the bottom of the little cup that you've made, like this, so that it's neat and it looks a little more like a cup. Now you could also use a Dixie cup, one of those little small drinking disposable cups if you want, or anything like that if you don't want to go through this process. But if you don't have it and you just love making stuff, I think it's a lot of fun to just make the cup. And you can color it, you can just put stickers on it, jewels, whatever you want. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're actually going to string it onto the top of the elevator like this. Okay. So we've already poked holes here with our the top one. So it's one hole on this side, one hole on this side. Here's our elevator. And we need a string to be able to pull the little cup up. So again, cut a nice, decent piece of string. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your little cup and you're going to tie to the top of that loop that you've made. So you've made this sort of loop, like it almost looks like a bucket, right? So you're going to tie it to the top 2 times to make it nice and strong. Cut off the extra. And then you are going to position it where you want it to be. See that it's touching the ground. And then you're going to poke the end of it through those 2 holes that you poked at the top of the tube. You're going to pass them through like that. And that is your elevator. Now you can just leave it loose like this, or do what I did and you can tie a knot or another bead at the very end so that it doesn't so it keeps it just from falling back through those holes. You can cut off if you want to make this string a little more manageable. You can make it a little bit shorter. I actually think I'm going to do that. I'm going to actually tie a bunch of knots together in the same spot. So a whole bunch to make a big knot here at the end to give me something to hold on to. And then when I pull, the knot keeps the string from coming through. And then I have this extra piece that I really don't need, and I can cut that off. So that's how you make a cool little elevator. All right. The next thing you're going to do is we're going to make a little boat. The boat's super simple. Again, I said keep those tops of the box, these parts right here. So if you get something that looks like this. And so what I did was I simply cut up the middle. Now you can use your scissors or you can use that box cutter that we talked about before. You would cut all the way up and split that top of your of the box and cut it into 2 strips. And then you're going to find a piece of cardboard. This is probably a little bit thicker than I would normally use. I would probably use a little bit thinner piece, but just for demonstration, I'm going to just use this one. So you're going to get a cardboard that's about as big as what you want your boat to be. Remember, bigger is a little bit better when you're crafting. That way, if you make a mistake, you can always take it off. And then what you're going to do is you're basically going to shape your boat into this shape. I don't know if you can see that. Kind of looks like a house shape with a triangle roof and then straight sides. So you're going to do that, and it's almost like you're molding something. And you can just cut like that. And you just bend the corners until you get sort of like a shape of a boat that you like. Now, if you don't have enough to go all the way around there, you can just get another piece until you get that sort of house shape. So I don't have enough to finish off my boat, but I'm going to go ahead and glue it down, and I'll show you what you can do. So I'm going to take a bead of hot glue. This does take a little bit of patience because each step you have to work along the way and wait for the glue to dry. and then I'm going to bend it slightly. And I'm going to bend, put some glue down. I know where I want to go, so I'm just going to pour a bunch of glue down like that. And I'm sure you will have a parent nearby to help you with this. It's a little tricky. I've done these kinds of things a lot, so I make it look a little easier. But if you're having a hard time, please get a parent rather than trying to do it yourself and risk burning yourself. So I'm just going to have to hold that. My end is a little bit long, a little uneven, so I can just come with the scissors, even up that little back part. Now, if I didn't have enough for this back, I can just simply, and that's why I tell you to cut it into strips, and get another piece from your other strip. Just cut it back, and then you can simply just put some more glue on to the sides. I'm sure you guys will do a much neater job than I am, but it's all about the fun and the process here at Yellowbird Studio, not the end result. So you're going to glue that onto the back, hold it there. But basically you see that I've got my little boat shape there. Once the little sides are dry, I'm going to trim off anything I don't like. I'm not waiting until it's dry so I can get you guys through the video. Okay, so you're going to do that. Once your whole boat is dry, then you would take your scissors and basically cut all this extra stuff. I'm not going to do the whole thing. That's why I say if you can get a little bit thinner than this cardboard for your base, it'll be easier to just cut around. And so you will cut around and it will give you that. So it's a lot easier than trying to trace the shape of a boat and glue it. Just glue your sides onto a big piece and then just cut them out. At the very end, you can do a popsicle stick and glue on. I have a dowel here that's stuck on with a bead because I bought a pack of beads, so it's easy for me to just stick a dowel in there, or you can just use a popsicle stick. Challenge yourself. How do you make a popsicle stick stand up? Cut out either cloth or some kind of crafting paper. I taped my sail on with tape. You can glue it on, it's up to you, and that is how I made my little boat that floats on my little lake that's right next to my cute tree house. This is also packing material here. How to make the furniture, super easy. All I did was just cut extra pieces of cardboard into tiny pieces like this. All these little tiny pieces. All you do is you just stack them together and you glue them together and you make them into, say, a little table. The little chair is a couple pieces of cardboard that were glued together, and then I just cut a half a circle in the back and glued that onto. So you can just get creative with the little scraps and make all kinds of fun little things like picnic tables and benches, beds, whatever it is that your treehouse needs. To make this part of the treehouse, which is the top, all I did was I took 3 pieces of cardboard, 1, 2, and 3, and glued them into a triangle shape, and left a little bit on the edge to kind of make it look like a tent. And I put my little tent on the top. You can put it on the side like they're going camping. It's up to you, however you want to do it. But I hope you guys had fun. I hope you enjoy crafting with your family. I think crafting is a great way to relax, and I love it when we make stuff here at the studio that we can use to play with. And this is something that you can play with your mom, your dad, your brothers and sisters. Create a little story that goes with your creation. Maybe you can come up with ways to make cars and other kinds of accessories. Again, the little girl who was here at the studio made this sort of fun tropical island sort of hammock, I guess you could say. So use your imagination, turn your boxes into something fun to play with. Don't throw them away, and we hope that you come back and watch another one of our videos again soon. Bye.